Hey guys, it's Ashley here, and I am really excited to be doing a fairy mystery channeling tonight. I think it's going to be really fun because A, I love mystery channelings, you guys know me, and B, it's all going to be really high vibrational, high vibrational fairy beings and or fae beings or elemental beings. So I think it's going to be fun to check it out and see who's going to join us tonight. And hey, Mimi, thanks for hopping on. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, I just got my hair did today. First step, I'm probably going to go a little lighter, more blonde, but we'll see. We'll see. I used to actually be blonde up until high school. I was like a honey blonde, just born that way, and now I have darker hair now, but I decided to go back to it, so I thought it'd be fun. So you guys, most of you guys know the drill. We're here in Channeling with Love here on Facebook. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, where I post these videos after the fact, if you want to catch these videos live, you can join Channeling with Love. Well, that's my website, but Channeling with Love on Facebook. If you go and search Channeling with Love in just the search bar, you'll be able to join us, and you can ask your questions live. So for everyone that's here live, if you have questions for any of the fairy beings that are going to be coming forward, please post them in the comments. I'll try and make sure I get to all of the questions. I do apologize if I miss some. Definitely keep asking your questions week after week, because I'm going to be going live every single week, and so you'll have an opportunity. Oh, awesome. So this person, sorry, I don't see your name, but they were saying that they were confused how to get to the live session when they saw that this event was going on. So they just were able to pop on. Yeah, this basically, I just show up on the group wall and you can join and ask your questions. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just got it done today. So we'll see how it keeps going from here, but it's been fun so far. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to pull up the picker wheel here so you guys get an opportunity. I'm going to check really quick just to make sure it's looking good. I apologize for the ads. These picker wheels are totally free. You can make your own. Just go to pickerwheel.com. I'm not affiliated. I just like using their product. It's fun and it's free, and you get to set your own wheel up however you'd like. So we're going to start us off with a spin. Oh my gosh, the gnomes. Yay. Okay, this is going to be fun. I literally this morning set up an event for the Fairies and Elemental Workshop, not the event, but the part of the workbook for the Fairies and Elemental Kingdom Workshop. I had missed a part of the gnomes, so I added it in just before, because tomorrow it starts. If you guys are interested, you can still sign up. Please private message me if you would like to join, or you can message me at channelingwithlove.com if you want to join for tomorrow, which was July 9th. It's the full weekend, July 9th, from July 9th to July 11th, and then the group is opened up for the whole week afterwards. So if you can't catch all the videos, or if you can't catch all of the events, you always have an opportunity to go back and watch the replay, just like this video, where I'm going to post this on YouTube, or I'm going to also have it on the group wall for a bit, so you can always catch up if you miss it during this live event and you're busy, you can't, catch up to this. So gnomes are awesome, and I'm really excited to channel them because they're really, really fun. And let's see who steps forward here. Okay, so I'm sensing some energy immediately coming in on my right side, and I feel like it's a male, and he's like climbing up to stand right here on my computer desk, and he's right in my face. He's like right here now. And he's saying, hello, everyone, and he's turning around and he's like waving. He's showing me this in my mind. And he's saying, hi, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I am ecstatic and excited. He's really, really happy to be seeing you all, interacting with each of you, and offering my services as a being you can participate in a channeling practice with, or ask questions of if you are ever curious about the gnomes. We are a Fae group who loves to, as us as humans, we typically represent them with the big red hats and their little statues that we put out in our gardens. That's for a reason, saying there are traditions that humans have held on to that encourage the imagery of the gnomes as these little men who have the red hats and typically are statues in the garden. Partly because our energy, what we like to do with our time is to assist things to grow. So we do like to work in the garden. We also like to assist with pets. So if you had a pet that you would like to work with, like the gnomes to work with, all you need to do is ask. The work may be interesting. He's saying work. So they may help with healing. They may help with boredom. He's showing the gnomes throwing little energy balls, little light balls, light orbs around a living room for cats to chase and play with. They can sense their energy, and they have a great time keeping cats and dogs entertained. Not only cats and dogs, other pets as well, birds, even reptiles. He's showing reptiles, turtles, lizards, different, just whatever pets we have. They're more than willing to interact with them. They love working with animals, but they also love working in the garden. They love providing little hints as to how to better take care of a garden. Maybe you have a little pesky problem with a certain type of plant, or there is an insect that is infecting your vegetable patch. They're saying, please turn to us and we can assist you, providing protection as well as guiding you to use methods that would ensure the balance and he's saying the integrity of your garden. He's showing energy, weeding of energy. So they do a lot of energy work in the gardens. This can be in a flower garden, in your front yard, in your whole vegetable patch, fruit, orchard, garden area, wherever you're growing fruits and vegetables, foods, as well as larger scale. He's saying large scale production. So on farms, he's showing me a farm that I used to love to go to up in Portland on this little island. It's called Savi's Island. And I can't remember the name of the farm, but it's like a farm to table space where you can go and pick your produce, and the produce that they have in season, they create dinner experiences where you can book for a dinner, and then they make this really amazing meal with the produce that you've purchased and or that they've had at the garden or at the farm. And he's showing that a lot of the gnome energy helps support and foster this high vibrational space. So if you have a larger scale operation, they're also willing to assist. It doesn't have to be a small garden. And he's saying, even if you don't have a garden, say you don't have an outdoor space, maybe you just have a little house plant or a cactus in your window, or an air plant or a succulent. No matter what type of plant it is, they know what to do. He's doing this to his nose. They know what to do. They can help you. This is a part of their their life. They like to do this work. That's part of what they really find enjoyment in. They also, I'm asking him, how do they help humans directly? He's saying that outside of helping them with their pets, making sure their pets are happy and their gardens are happy, helping to clean a person's energy. They can help do that as well. And again, it's kind of like tending a garden, weeding energy out that we don't need in our energetic field. They can help us identify that and or help us transmute it, help get rid of it. So he's just saying, if you'd like us to assist you, call on us. And he's showing them in like jumper suits, like not like space suits, but just like jumpsuits, like almost like a mechanic's jumpsuit or a garbage man's jumpsuit, like the more traditional kind of jumpsuits for garbage people. And they're like zipping up their jumpsuits, and they're like getting their gloves on, getting their hats on. They're getting ready to get down and dirty and clean out this energy that you want to get rid of. So they mean business. So if you'd like them to assist you, please ask them to do so. I'm asking them if they're him, and there's a few other that are joining him now. Are there any other messages that they would like to share? They're looking at your questions right now. They're like scanning the questions. And the first question they see is Dee's question. Does he look like a traditional garden gnome? He's changed his image a few times, showing me like him getting into a jumpsuit. But when he first climbed up onto my computer desk, he totally did. He had the red hat and the big beard. And I typically, I don't know why, but I see them in like a blue shirt and like brown pants with like little boots on. And that's what he looks like right now. But he has changed his image to show me the jumpsuits as well. Let's see here. Are they using some kind of frequency to keep pests away? That's a really good question. What's the hertz amount? Their presence, as well as the energy that they exude out, does help keep pests away. They're not like going into the hertz amounts, but that might be something that you could probably Google. I'm sure there's science experiments that have taken place that equate hertz to insect behavior. Or maybe how hertz affect insects. I feel like that's something that's been done, but he's not. He's just kind of like waving that away, and he's just saying them being there, kind of their energy pervading the space, would deter the pests. So I'm not sure if that's more of a hertz thing or more of just they're expanding their energy out type thing. Okay. Let's see here. Do they like to receive gifts? They're saying, why? He's kind of showing like, if don't mind, it's almost like that phrase, don't mind if I do, but he's like, why, of course we do. It's not really that phrase, but he's kind of doing that gesture. And yes, they do enjoy gifts. They don't need anything. He's saying they're not super interested in like sugary things. They would like more earthy things, maybe some pretty rocks. Putting rocks out would be nice. They enjoy crystals or pretty rocks, just rocks that you like. You don't even have, it doesn't have to be pretty or purchased. If you find a cool rock that you like just on the side of the road or when you're hiking or whatever, and you want to set it out as a gift, just, set that intention. And they're showing to just place the rock maybe on a stump or somewhere where it's just kind of on its own, like kind of like this is clearly a gift to you. And they would love to receive a gift. Gift giving is a beautiful gesture, and it's more about the energy of the gift giving and the intention behind it and the expression of friendship. And they would love to also give you guys gifts and helping you in your garden and playing with your pets and being a presence in your natural environment space. Kimberly is asking or saying she has a large flower garden and a vegetable garden. Have they ever been in my garden? You're saying, yes, they have. You can also have them stay more permanently if you so choose. I'm asking them if there's anything that you would need to do to have them be more permanent in your space. Just ask them to move into your garden. Please, you know, you can phrase it however you like, but ask them to move into your garden and they'll set up shop. How can they help us in twin flame journey? The gnomes. They're saying in the direct path of twin flames, ultimately, it's all about energy. It's about where your frequency is and when you're ready to meet your twin flame and or your life contract. So they can't necessarily help you 100%. They're saying, like he's saying, particularly if you are not meant to meet your twin flame in a physical vessel or a physical form in this life experience, you're not going to meet them. But he's saying, but if you wish to raise your vibrational frequency and make space in your life for a relationship with your twin flame, regardless of physicality, you can always connect to them through an energetic spiritual bond as well. But you need to raise your frequency level. So if you need assistance in that, that's how they can help you on that journey. And they can also be your cheerleaders. They're kind of just showing like, I don't really watch golf or anything. I find golf really boring, but I've seen like, you know, where they're at the tee, they're golfing and that's just like hitting the ball straight into the little hole that's like right next to them and everyone's crowded around and everyone's like clapping, but it's like really quiet. They're kind of showing like a group of them clapping and just being really quiet, being a spectator. So supporting your twin flame journey, being that kind of moral support, helping to raise your frequency, keeping things light and fun. That's what they can do for you. That's a good question. It's interesting. This person who's asking a question is saying, I'm working and creating a fairy comic right now. Am I connected to fairies and channeling their energy into my story? And they're going all ham and they are cheering you on. They're really, really happy that you're doing this project. The gnomes are, and the fairies are now joining as well. Yes, you are. Definitely have a lot of fairy energy around you, and the fairies have been very involved in that project, and they want you to keep going and just have a lot of fun with it. So they're fully supporting your project, and they're really, really excited about it. So keep it up. That's awesome. Dee is asking, do they have any enemies? You're saying, no, there are no enemies. They're not going to be like attacked by a dog. They're not going to be attacked by anything. They are able to move through dimensions, just as fairies do, just as guardian angels do, just as all the other spiritual beings can move through different dimensional frequencies. They're on that same level. They don't necessarily have any enemies. They're all on the same team. And they work very closely on Gaia's back here, but also in other places in the universe. They have other planets that they work on as well. But Gaia is really special, and they like to tend her garden space. Being in our gardens helps Gaia have a higher vibrational space, higher vibrational surface, I should say, or saying surface. And they help in the efforts that the fairies, the fae beings, along with the galactic beings, all the archangels, the ascended masters, the light workers that are here, everyone's on the same team working together to bring more energy to Gaia and more energy to anchor within all of us. So that's they work in that team. There's There's nothing that could harm them or prevent them from moving forward in their journey. So let's see here. Tori's asking a great question. And Crystal, she also asked a great question. Are gnomes only here on Earth? They just said that they're also in other places, so that's a no. That's cool. Tori's asking, how do we know if they are in our yard? Are there special types of places that they like? He's just saying they can leave you little clues, little reminders that you have invited them in and that they're there. They're leaving little trinkets. So maybe keep an eye out if you've asked them to join and live in your garden, and say like you find a little rock or a feather. They're showing like natural gifts, like little things can be left out to let you know that they're there. They do prefer to live near trees and in shrubs and bigger, leafier. They're showing like leafier bushes. They really enjoy living kind of in a more protected space, but they do their work everywhere in the garden. Okay, so this is awesome. Let's see here. You guys have some great questions. Would they love being in my garden? Do they have any suggestions? They're highlighting that in your garden, they do love being in your garden. They have been in your garden. They're there working there, and they can come in more if you want them to join you more. They're highlighting that if you wish to change your garden, there's a great opportunity to take cuttings from plants, or maybe from flowers or plants or other, other plant. I don't know why I'm stumbling on this. They're saying plants, but they're showing me flowers and like vegetables and fruit trees and all these different things. You can take cuttings and you can splice those cuttings onto, or plant them and transplant them and foster a wider variety of plant life in your garden. And doing this in a way that is money free. You're not paying for these. You're maybe exchanging something in return for the cuttings, or you're offering a cutting for someone else's cutting of maybe a flower. And they're saying this is a cool way to create memories and build the energy in your garden by bringing in fresh energy from plants that you really find special or have a good energy. So feel free to test that out and see how you like that process. Don't be afraid to ask people if you can take a cutting from maybe their flowers, just a little one, or if maybe they can provide one for you because you just love them so much. Because ultimately, the passion, the energy, the intent, the friendliness, the love behind celebrating those plants brings that fresh energy into your garden space and can really renovate it. So they're really highlighting that intention and that energy exchange as a different process than going to a garden store or going to, flower stand, which those are totally legitimate processes as well, but exchanging money for plants. So they are encouraging you and everyone else who maybe finds that interesting or would like to bring in some fresh energy into your garden space. Try doing cuttings, or trading maybe some baked goods that you made yourself for some cuttings from a neighbor or a friend. Or offer cuttings of, maybe you have really beautiful flowers or really vibrant, thriving vegetables or fruits that you can offer a cutting to a friend or neighbor or someone for an exchange of a different plant. So try it out and see how you like that. They're really encouraging anyone to test that out. And I've heard that several times from various different Fae beings. They really like that exchange and in appreciation of the plant versus buying the plant with money. Not that that's a bad way, but there's just more like kind of a magical energy behind that exchange, just for the exchange of it, for, you know, the thrill of it, the connection to the plant. You saw something special in that plant, so you wanted to get that, and you did it in a really natural way. So that's their take on that. That's their suggestion. Okay, I think this is going to be the final question for the gnomes. We've already spent, oh my gosh, 25 minutes talking to the gnomes. They're so great. I love them so much. Let's see here. What dimension do they reside in? And what's it like out there? How do they travel to our dimension? And what is the meaning of the spiral pictograph drawings around the world? Good questions. There's lots of there. Okay, so what dimension do they reside in? They're saying many. Often I see Fey beings residing in a range of dimensions, as well as with galactic beings. There's not just one dimension that they reside in, and they can easily come into our dimensional frequency whenever they choose. It's just a lowering or a raising of their frequency. Just like the angels, just like archangels, ascended masters, they can bring their energy down and come into our 3D reality, or 4D or 5D, wherever, you know, they're at the time, and can lower that to connect with us and be here energetically. So they do the same thing. That's the same process. So you may not see them all the time physically with your eyes. You may sense them, like I'm channeling them right now. They're here. They've lowered their frequency from, they're saying right now, the 6th dimension. That's where they particularly reside. And they dropped it down so that they can come and speak with us and connect with us in this easy manner. They're also saying that some of their elders live in higher dimensional frequencies. They're showing me 9th or 10th. It depends on the individual. So there's a range there, 6th up to 9th or 10th. That's pretty interesting. Okay, and there's another few questions in here. So how they travel is their manipulation of energy. So they are energy, and they can move through those dimensions using their own energy. So there's really no time or space constraints for them at all. Just like any galactic being, any angel, archangel, ascended master, spirit guide, they're all able to do this. And what are the meaning of the spiral petroglyph drawings around the world? This is sacred geometry that highlights the flow of energy. Depending on who depicted these spirals, they may have imbued the geometry, the design, the pattern with different meanings, with different intentions. But ultimately, it's a reflection and movement of energy. That's the commonality between them. He's saying that there are many different cultures that use the spiral, as the spiral is not only found energetically around the world, but in nature, in our own emotional bodies, in our own energetic bodies, in the flow of the energy around us. The spiral is something that we can feel intrinsically, and that has often expressed through that sacred geometry, that drawing of the spiral. He's showing carvings of it, like on the side of cliffs, on stone buildings that are built. They're also showing I don't know if you guys know the serpent mounds in, I think it's Georgia. I'm not 100% sure. It's more on the East Coast somewhere. There's these serpent mounds that were built, and it's like mounds literally of rock and debris and dirt and earth moved to form a shape. And there has been a practice of doing that as well. And he's saying also the Nazca lines, etchings in the desert to show the spiral of energy. There are many, many depictions of this. Awesome, cool questions. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I'm seeing a few questions more for fairies. Let's see if the fairies decide to pop in, or maybe a different fae being decides to pop in, and we'll take some questions for them as well. Let me get to the picker wheel. I hope you guys can see that. I'm going to check really quick. Yep. Okay, so we're going to spin the wheel and see who steps forward next. And before I do this, I just want to say thank you to the gnomes for joining us and answering so many awesome questions. This was fun. Oh my gosh, sprites. This is going to be great. I can already hear laughing. And let me just uncheck that so they don't show up next time. Okay. All right, so if you guys have questions for sprites, please post them in the comments and I'll try and get to them. I do see a few questions here for other beings, so they may try and answer those as well. Okay, so now the gnomes have kind of stepped back. I feel their energies has receded, though they're still hanging out and they're watching. The sprites, I feel 3 to 4 of them. I haven't determined if there's a fourth one yet. Kind of flying, moving around my head, and I'm kind of feeling buzzy. Not gonna lie, there's a lot of energy right here. If you want to feel the sprites coming in, definitely ask them to come in. Give them a deadline, not a deadline, but like maybe a timeline. In the next hour, they can hang out and then they need to leave. Sprites are ones that are fae beings that are quite rambunctious, and I have found that they like to party. They like to have a lot of fun. Sprites are really, really cool beings. They can look a lot of different ways. And in the Fairy and Elemental Kingdom workshop, we'll delve into a lot of different ways sprites can interact and how they look. But they can look kind of like fairies, like little light orbs. They can look like little flower beings, plant beings. I've seen them look like kind of just like green and blue, humanoid, kind of like insects kind of flying around. They look very different depending on their own persona and their own desire to present however they want to me. And they're really, really fun. Bottom line, they like to have fun. They like to lighten the mood. They're super high vibrational, and it's almost like their wings kind of hover around like the speed of like a hummingbird's wings. Like you can hear their wings a little bit flying around, especially when they're flying, but you can barely see them, and they just kind of float around. They're really, really cool. And they're just laughing and they're playing with my hair, and they're saying that they like the change in my hair. Thank you very much. And they are excited to be here because they have not had an opportunity very often to step forward and speak to as many people as are here now live and Channeling with Love on Facebook, and or later when people watch this replay on YouTube or in other Facebook groups where I post these videos. And they're just really excited to say hello and that they are present, whether or not they resonate with them or feel drawn to speak with them. They will always want to step forward and help us have a good time. So they're showing a lot of people like setting up picnics out in the parks, or going on hikes out in the woods, or sitting on the beach and just enjoying the ocean and the beach vibe. And they're saying wherever you're at in nature, they like to connect with us, and they can help us uplift the energy of our gathering. They like to work with children. They like to work in nature, particularly with humans. Like the gnomes, they also like to provide their assistance to pets and plants. But they also can be a little tricky. So they have a good time distracting little babies, young children. And they like to just come in and have fun at any point. they're highlighting my experience, and I talk about this in the workshop that's coming up tomorrow, that they visited me once, and I was not prepared for them to visit me, and they thought it was hilarious that they kind of caught me off guard, and they were just having a good time. I woke up in the middle of the night. They were just laughing their heads off right in my ear. And this was at a time where I wasn't super comfortable with spirit yet. I was just had my training wheels on. I was just learning how to channel. And they thought it was so funny. And so if you're just looking for just a little pick-me-up, invite the sprites to come in and say hello. They also, again, like to provide that little zest of energy to young children and pets and plants. And they just they're like little sun, like little stars. Like they just are super bright. Their energy just expands out, and it's just really, really fun. Okay, so they're saying ultimately that's what they want you to know. Call on them to have fun. Call on them if you need help lifting your energy, and they will do. They're saying we will do our worst, which is they're gonna make you feel better. They're going to be crazy and kind of uplift your energy and have a good time. Okay, so they're now pointing to questions. So we see some questions over here. Okay, so this person is saying, since their childhood, they were thrilled seeing small fairy houses. Do they love fairy houses with lights in it? I think this might have been a question for the gnomes, but the sprites are going to come out and say it. Yes, they do. Fairies love fairy houses. Gnomes love little fairy houses, and sprites do as well. The intent behind creating a comfortable space for them, it's just a sign of love and friendship to them, and they love to be able to set up shop, if you will, in those spaces. So a lot of people like to design little miniature kind of spaces in their, maybe their flower garden or their front yards or lawns of little fairy gardens. And fairy gardens look very different per person, per each person's style and aesthetic. You can plant just a lot of flowers and you can call it a fairy garden, or you can have little ceramic houses or build your house out of like natural materials, and you can put little fairy lights in there and or decorate it with pretty shiny things. We also in the workshop go over how to design and build a fairy garden. So that's just a little taster of what we go over in the workbook and in the exercises that we're going to be doing in this workshop around how to interact with fairies. And fairies being fairies, as well as the sprites, the gnomes, the elves, all these different beings that we can connect with in this way. So that's going to be a really fun conversation. Crystal is asking, do sprites interact with each other without us? They're saying, yes, we do. Sprites, gnomes, fairies, all of the fae beings that you can think of, the galactic beings, the ascended masters, angels, archangels, they all interact with each other. They don't need necessarily the like sit down time, the face time that humans need a lot to connect and to deeply connect. But they do definitely interact with each other outside of interacting with humans. Like they can all hang out on their own if they want. That's a good question. All right. How are sprites different from fairies and gnomes? Sprites just have a different energy signature. They're not necessarily as connected to humans as maybe fairies or gnomes are, but they're more than willing to help out, and that's what they're saying. They may not be as frequently called upon to assist, but they love to help plants and animals. They love to just bring in that high vibrational frequency wherever they go. And they look quite a bit different. Like fairies, typically, at least how I see them, is they can be energy orbs flying around. They can have and have fairy wings, or like butterfly wings or dragonfly wings. They have very natural looking wings. And then they also look very humanoid, whereas sprites are not as humanoid. They may look more like plants, or for example, the praying mantis, or a walking stick. They may look like insects or different beings in their overall form, but they behave very differently than maybe a walking stick would. They like walk really slow, and they don't move too quickly, where sprites can like zip around wherever they want to go. How long do sprites live? That's a good question. Their life experiences, their lifespans are significantly, if they had to put it in a linear timeline for us humans, it's significantly different. And they're showing just a lot longer than maybe how we would. Our lifespan is what, like up to 90 something years or something. I don't know, maybe 80 something years for a typical average human in the Western world. I don't know about all around the world. I know like in Japan and in some Asian countries, their life expectancy may be a lot longer. But they're saying if you had to put it in linear terms, which is a very human thing, they live a very, very long time. But their life missions are similar to humans in that they have specific goals in mind for their own experience. And once they've reached those goals, they're happy to exit and go on another, they're saying another adventure. They're going to go and reincarnate, and they may be a fairy or they may be something different. They don't have to always be sprites. So it's really kind of varied as to what is their mission, what's their purpose, what do they want to accomplish as a sprite. And when they do that, or when it's just their time to exit, they'll exit. And they're saying this goes for all the fae beings. It's not always consistent amongst each group. It's really individual based. Okay. What would make sprites to create certain weather events in my area? Let's say rain in parts of desert where it never rains. Is it possible? They're saying yes, it is possible that they could assist the land. They can assist and bring energy in, but sprites on their own wouldn't probably make that happen or focus at that level. That would be a bigger collective group event. And they're showing me Pleiadian beings being more involved than sprites. So I hope that answers your question. They can assist, but that's not really their main focus. There are some places in the world where it's just natural to not have very much rain, and that's the terrain and that's the energy of the place. But if there needs to be that rain or that weather event energy coming in, it's kind of an all hands on deck type of thing, but they're showing more like galactic beings taking part in that. Really fascinating. You guys have some great questions tonight. Thank you so much. Do sprites interact with the Sasquatch collective? I'm saying yes. Many of the fae beings do, not just sprites. Yes. Crystals, we have as humans possibly lived lives as sprites or gnomes or fairies like we have other galactic beings? Yes, definitely. This is something that's really fascinating. I personally have had many life experiences as a fairy being or fae being here on Earth and in other places. And that really expresses itself in, it really impacts my life experience here on Earth in this lifetime. And I've seen it mainly when I was really little, but also kind of how my energy just kind of revs, like where it naturally is partly a fairy signature, if you will, or a signature or an indicator that you've had fae life experiences in the past. So if someone maybe is not as grounded, has a lot of energy. Maybe their minds aren't as quiet as they could be, or maybe they have a harder time being really quiet in their mind. A fairy life experience, a previous fairy life experience, could certainly be part of that impact, and part of the lesson that you're here to learn as a human is to quiet your mind and go within and anchor your energy to earth. I've seen that actually many times with people who have very clear fairy experiences as part of their soul journey, as well as some galactic beings. They rev a bit higher, more like the fairy energy is. So I've seen some people who have both the galactic types as well as the fairy experience, and that makes for an interesting combination. But you definitely can have those experiences as well. Okay, let's see here. The final question that I see here, is it okay for them if we spray organic plant-based pesticides on plants? They're saying they would prefer that you don't use chemicals at all, but some sort of a more natural ingredients. They're showing, I know I've heard this several times from the fairies in particular, but using vinegars to deter pests, to deter weeds, to do different things. More natural-based products could be available. But ultimately, it is in your hands as to how you manage your garden, your plants. If you need assistance in coming up with different alternative ideas to address your garden needs, please, the gnomes are coming in. They're like saying, please call on us. The sprites are saying, please call on them as well, because they would love to assist in guiding you to those different tools. There's a lot of different alternatives. I personally am not a gardener. I like to appreciate gardens, and I like to eat fresh fruits and vegetables from gardens, or like you pick farms in different places, organic you pick farms and stuff. But I personally don't have a lot of hands-on experience planting a garden. That's one thing when I particularly am looking forward to when I get a house someday during my lifetime. Hopefully I'll have a space where I can experiment and practice a lot of those recommendations that the fairies, the sprites, the gnomes, the fae beings often give. So definitely try it out. See if you can find some other alternatives to those pesticides. But if not, don't feel guilty using them. It's not going to impact the fae beings at all, but it can impact the balance and the energy of your garden. Okay, Dee saying, yep, she's been a fairy. And Timothy is saying, Dee's a fairy queen. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Kimberly is asking, have I ever had a life as a fae? The sprites are saying not very many, but yes. They're showing like a handful, like 5 or 6 max. I'm not feeling a big pull there for you, Kimberly. Chrissy is asking, am I able to ask the sprites to help my son with his energy and help him with his moods? They're saying, yes, please do. They're showing their eyes are really wide for some reason. I think they're just really excited. They like kind of expanded their energy, and they're really, really excited, Chrissy, for you to ask them to come in and help your son. Because bringing in a higher vibrational frequency can help establish a stable baseline. So if he's having problems maintaining, and, you know, I see a lot of people have those roller coaster highs and lows. If he's having a problem maintaining that stable baseline, they can help raise his frequency, so that way it's easier for him to manage that stable baseline. They're really excited, and they would be honored to assist him. So please ask them to do that. Beautiful. Okay, guys. I'm asking the sprites if there's anything else that they would like to share, or anything else that they would like to discuss. They're saying, not at this time. They are just really excited for the workshop that's coming up. I've mentioned that a few times. If you haven't joined, you can still sign up. Just private message me or reach me at channelingwithlove.com, and I can get you in before it starts tomorrow at 5 as our official kickoff. So let me know if you're interested in joining. It's going to be in a private Facebook group, and it's really going to be awesome. You guys, I not only channel the sprites and the gnomes, but a ton of other fairy beings, fae beings, elemental beings, and we have a ton of work that we're going to be doing. So sensing energy, designing your fairy garden, asking certain groups to come in and assist you with different things. So it's going to be really, really fun. And with that, they're just saying bye, and they hope that you all have a really good evening. And they're all just kind of waving. They're flying. They're still flying around. They're waving bye. So again, if you guys have questions, please let me know if you have questions. And I just want to say thank you guys. This is a really fun fairy mystery channeling event. You guys had some awesome questions, and I cannot wait to set up the next month's events. So be on the lookout for those. I still have more to come. And I think next week we're going to be channeling Archangel Uriel and Aurora. So that's going to be really, really fun. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much.